Hello, Handsome Hermit here, and thank you for tuning in to the first episode of our Rimworld series. Now, this series was largely inspired by Pete Complete's I Shoot Challenge, and I will seek to emulate and build upon his style of highly edited narrative gameplay. The key difference is that this will not be a completionist walkthrough. It will be a roleplay-inspired, story-centric series where tragedy is just as welcome as a happy ending. Without further ado, let's jump into the game. For this series, we'll be going with the Lost Tribe scenario. We will start off with 5 colonists and 3 pets, as well as various starting items. We will be at a technological disadvantage throughout the game, where most research will take twice as long to complete. In terms of storyteller settings, we will go with Randy Random on the Savage setting. You will see me select commitment mode, which does not allow backup saves, but after multiple crashes I disabled it off screen. We will lose a little bit of authenticity, but I promise it will be more than made up with reliability. I was happy with the first randomized seed. I think it will be a good portent of events to come. I switched global coverage to 50% and lowered overall rainfall to a bit less than normal. In my experience, too much rain makes for a gloomy playthrough, and I get enough of it as it is in the United Kingdom. Here you can see some of the mods I'm using. The vast majority of them are quality of life mods such as better camera control and the fine-tuning of work priorities. The 2 major mods that affect gameplay will be Vanilla Weapons Expanded and Vanilla Furniture Expanded. These 2 mods add immersive balanced items that, in my experience, enrich the playing experience. We will now select a random site to spawn in, and it looks like we will be starting in the desert on the Western Hemisphere. We are not too far from nearby settlements, and it looks like at least 2 of them will be friendly. This is not the most ideal starting situation, but we'll soldier on. Here is the list of our randomized tribe of 5. Quickly peeking at the team skills section at the bottom gives us a quick overview of the strengths and weaknesses of our party. It looks like the only real weakness will be plants and medical skills. As we quickly flip through our colonists and the 3 that will be left behind, I'm unable to pronounce the name of one of them. And Kanto, while his skills are generally good, has the dreaded pyromaniac trait. Well then, let us start a journey in the desert. Here we have the backstory for our colonists. The gods were very angry. The blood machines came at night. They swept through your village, cutting and burning your people with their blades and devil fire, and only a few of you escaped. Now, after a harrowing journey with no friends to turn to, you must build a new home in the wilderness like your ancestors did. First, we will take a quick overview of the map, and on first impressions it looks very bleak with a few dotted hills. The first thing we will do is toggle off automatic home zone generation, and we'll take a look at the fertile areas that are suitable for growing crops. It doesn't look too bad. We now have to equip weapons for our colonists. Looking at the information panel, the Steel Iqua has a higher DPS than the club, so we will go with that. And I ensure everyone has a weapon equipped. It looks like there is an ancient danger to the north of us, but there is little point looking around this map any further. This is an inhospitable place, and I'm sorry to my colonists, but it looks like they can't settle down just yet. Currently, our location supports growing temperatures for 30 out of 60 days. It also appears we are on the northern edge of the planet, meaning we have to head south for more favourable growing conditions. This tile supports growing times for 40 out of 60 days. It means we are getting close. and this one supports 50 out of 60, and the great news is that it is a temperate forest biome, one of the most balanced regions to colonize. Just a couple tiles away, we see the hostile Galga settlement. Maybe we will be able to raid it down the line. We can also see Nick Boskalion, a settlement of the Fallen Empire to the southeast. Trading here will require the title of Knight or Dame. First things first, we set a stockpile zone so that the game registers the items as ours. Now we form a caravan including all our colonists and pets by clicking and dragging. Next we select the items to take on our migration, and it looks like we will need to leave some of our wood behind. This is not a huge loss considering we are moving to a temperate forest biome. I find the perfect equilibrium on carry weight because overburdening our caravan affects its travel speed. Then we set our destination, and it looks like it will take our colonists just under 2 days to get there. And just as I'm about to confirm it all, it looks like we have encountered the first challenge of our playthrough. We won't have enough food for our journey despite the 300 units of pemmican. But as I think you will soon come to know, I am good at ignoring the evidence before my eyes. We will commence the journey and monitor the situation as it develops. Let's watch as our colonists collect their belongings and exit the map. I monitor the situation and it looks like they're running on empty, but their mood is strangely maintained at a neutral state. Perhaps it is a display bug. Well, there is no going back. We abandon our settlement and time accelerates faster, and soon we arrive to settle in our new home. And here is the promised land. The first thing I do is double-click a Steam Gazer to see their distribution on the map. I like the look of these two close together in the southeast. Let's check the fertility of the area. There is a hyper-fertile region to the edges of the map that will be hard to reach. Now let's check terrain affordance. And it looks good. It isn't usually a problem on temperate forest biomes, but I have been let down in the past by not being able to build a stone wall to fortify my base. After looking at all these factors, it looks like the southeastern quadrant will be our long-term base, with wall sections to the south and northeast to cut off access to raiders. For now, let's get a temporary camp up and running. Our primary target will be this turkey and cougar within arm's reach. We draft our colonists to Zerg rush the first target, and it looks like our pet warg, Carnation, beats us to the kill. I don't usually like pets, but our deadly warg is already earning its keep. Now let's get rid of this tango to the north. We select the colonists with ranged weaponry, which turn out to be wolverine, partridge and cockroach, while our melee fighters Anteater and Beaver form a defensive line. And it looks like we aggroed the cougar on our first hit. It goes directly for Anteater, but thankfully it is quickly downed. Next, we go about deconstructing the sparse steel walls on the right, and put down a temporary stockpile zone. We go into the detail section to permit the stockpiling of dead animal bodies. It looks like our war carnation was really hungry. It is already tearing away at the turkey. I mark a few more animals to be hunted and Cockroach gets right on it. Then I mark trees to be felled, making sure they have grown at least 80%. Our colonists need a place to sleep, so we put down 5 sleeping spots against the left wall. Next, we queue up these pillars and sarcophagi to be deconstructed. Hopefully, we won't be burying anyone just yet. We will leave the granite grand stele for the moment as it provides a nice beauty bonus. Afterwards, we place a butchering zone and a campfire right next to it so that we can start cooking meals. It looks like Cockroach is having a difficult time hunting. Looking at her skills, she is incapable of dumb labour, making her good for only shooting and research. Let's help her out. I draft and move her closer to the target. Brilliant. Whenever I set up a new base with any animals, one of the first things I do is set areas where they are unwelcome, and a safe spot in case of emergencies. The first area is named Animals, and this is where they will be allowed to roam most of the time. The second area is simply named Emergency. I click Invert on Animals so that they are allowed to roam everywhere. I select Emergency under Expand Allowed Area and designate where they should evacuate to. Then I select Animals under Clear Allowed Area and designate where they cannot go. Then click and drag to indicate they are no longer unrestricted. Now when we select play, we can see the animals scrambling away from where they're unwelcome. It looks like Anteater was hit pretty hard by the cougar earlier, and our resident doc is using precious medicine to treat her. It's only a scratch. And while we're at it, let's go to the Assign tab to make sure everyone conserves medicine. We'll set up our drug policy at a later time. Night has fallen, but we're running low on food. We don't want our colonists to miss out on breakfast, so I wake up our resident doctor/cook Wolverine to get to work. It looks like Anteater is approaching breaking point. It doesn't help that she has the tortured artist trait that gives her a permanent -8 mood debuff. Morning arrives and our colonists bustle into action. We are still very low on food, so we'll continuously queue up animals to be hunted. Every little squirrel helps. One easy way to raise people's mood is to eat at a table. Thankfully, there is a ruin to the south that we swiftly requisition. I get my planning tool out to segment the lower area into 5 3x3 rooms. Wooden walls are placed on the periphery. Then we place saloon doors, which were added into the game through the mod Vanilla Factions Expanded Settlers. These are cheaper and open faster than normal doors, the only downsides being it takes 1 or 2 hits to destroy. There is a reason I place the rooms here, and just by filling in a few gaps we are left with fully floored rooms with minimal effort. It looks like our cockroach appears to be idling. Let's make her hunt this tortoise and queue up a few more animals to hunt. Suddenly we get the first merchant caravan of our playthrough. It looks like they are from the Minoka Alliance. We'll check on them a bit later, and for now we'll help Cockroach out with her tortoise hunting. Oh Cockroach, how can you possibly aggravate a tortoise? I mean, what are the odds of that? We move her back a bit, and it looks like our warg carnation is moving down into position. If he takes it out, he will be the first pet I've ever liked. Yeah, I didn't think so. Now let's get this squirrel next. Brilliant. The hunting is going well when we receive a notice that a local rat has gone mad. I let our tortured artist Anteater handle it, and she kills it in 1 hit. The hunting continues when... What? Bad dog. There is a reason I don't like carnivorous pets. And Runt has the audacity to eat it all. Let's see what we can trade. They're willing to buy the warg, but they're not interested in the bad dog or the husky. Looks like we will have to stay for now. With the rooms nearing completion, I assign them to each colonist. It looks like Anteater is close to breaking point again. This time she is unhappy with the ugly environment, which reminds me to expand the home zone so that our colonists know where to clean. Now that we have a table, we can place a couple stools to get rid of the 8 on the floor mood debuff. Then we can also place a hoopstone ring to fill their entertainment needs. Partridge, our skilled craftsman, botches the first stool but quickly completes the second one. Let's take a brief moment to appreciate this beauty. Miss Partridge Cambiar is a single 67-year-old and has the highest passion and skills in construction, mining, plants, crafting and art. I don't think it is an understatement to say that she is the single most valuable asset in the colony. However, because of her advanced age, she is more fragile, and if she were to get hurt, an infection is very likely to kill her. She is also more likely to develop health conditions such as dementia, bad back, and cataracts that would affect her output. We are still dangerously low on food, so we must continue hunting. I spot a boom rat in the north, but they're prone to combustion, and I prefer hunting them when it's raining. There are some berry bushes to the left and our star colonist Partridge gets right on it. Night falls and we can see our pet husky Mopsy beelining towards the harvested berries. That was for human consumption, Mopsy. We also see suspicious movement from Runt. But the squirrel he stole earlier must have filled his appetite. I think this is a good spot to wrap up the episode. We have delivered our tribespeople to the promised land and assigned them all rooms. We have a couple bad dogs, but what can you do? If you enjoyed this episode, I highly recommend you check out Pete Complete's channel. You will likely find an archive of quality content. If you would like to support me and my gypsy lifestyle, I'm sure you'll find a way. And on that challenge, I bid you good night.